Now continuing the work on the rolling Vengeance, we've now got to start drilling cutting some holes in. We've got a square here which we know is over halfway, and then they look the same size there. We've got 4 of them to cut. Then there's a rectangle on the door, we've got to cut that. We've got to add a couple of thinner ribs to the framework, it seems to be. There seems to be a piece here, if you look, which I might just stick thin plastic on and just paint up to get the same sort of effect. So we got that to do. And then we've got the front slots to do. There seems to be a lower slot here, I've just noticed. So there's lots of slots to put in there. We've got a grill slot to cut in and the headlight area to cut out as well, and put something in there. So there's a lot involved in the cutting out, which I'm going to take my time, because it's not easy cutting out after you've assembled, but I needed it together so I could work out what to cut out. So let's cut some holes. Well, I run into a disaster. I cut a hole here and I failed terribly, because what the problem is just pushed it out, I didn't realise, because it's a repair hole. It's repaired now, hopefully. I cut through, hit superstructure where I've designed this, and I've got nowhere to put, well, I just can't cut them out easily. So what I'm going to do is a cheat and just put the grid on the outside and spray over it. Once it's painted in, it will look quite good, but sometimes you have to cheat. I'm going to do the same with the lower grille here. Because I haven't really got much choice. But the upper holes, they do really need to be cut. So that is through only one piece of plastic, I can see there. The front is as well, so this shouldn't be so much of a problem. But it's a shame I couldn't cut them in properly, but it shows when you build you can make mistakes in design, because there's no proper design for it. It's what I've drawn up from photos, and this is what you can run into. But it will look good once it's done. So back to adding more plastic. There we go, we got the slots in. They're a bit wider on the side like they seem to be in the picture. Now we've got to add some plastic stripping here, here, here. Some thinner stripping, like I said, there. And then a couple of strips on the front, and repeat this side onto that side. So let's get that stripping done. So there we go, all the plastic's on and the holes are cut in as they roughly should be. Slightly smaller on the front they seem to be to the larger ones on the side, so it's pretty accurate, that part. Now the next bit is the lower front panel, and this is where it's going to get tricky, because if you look here, see if I can get this into place. There you go. If you look, see the front piece here, you can see the headlights are behind a mesh. So we're going to try and do that, but it shows it's got to be sort of built backwards. And this is what I've got to try and work out on the front. It's not too wide. And then afterwards we've got the grille in the middle. See? You can see the grille there, and so that is on here it doesn't show, but it don't look inserted in the same. So as for lights, I've got some light sets, not huge, and we've got to work out a way of fitting these. I will get them out of the bag in a sec. And these are the light units I've got to try and get it to fit in, so I've got to find a way of mounting them. So as long as they can fit in on that slot section, they won't be too bad. So I'll see what I can come up with and build, because what I want to do is I don't want to fit the lights until basically it goes together, for the reason of painting. You know, when you spray paint, you don't want to spray onto, but we've got bits and bobs to work with, and see what I can make. So from the inside I had to do quite a bit of chopping, but I'm putting back together now. I made a couple of light units, and the lights glue in from behind, and they'll just they'll glue into place. I cut the grill out and welded the grill on, and that's what it'll look like. See, the units in, so they're slightly recessed, and then the mesh goes just completely over, and that is put on with plasti weld, even though I will run a bead of super glue at the bottom once I mask it off and rip the tape off really fast. But no, it actually, you can see the insert better on the camera, because when I look at it, it doesn't always show up as so well. So that's done, and that completes this part. And there we go, that's the front just about completed. Set for framework to go on much later, but this has took a lot of cutting and reinforcing to get this into this shape. And like I said, the lights, you don't really want to see them, but you see them shine through in the film, and that's what we're going for. Now the next thing to do is we've got to make some slots in the back. There's two longer ones and two smaller ones. So what I'm going to do is try and make a plate that fits over and put them on that way, and that would be an easier way of getting them on. Because this is where you can run into sort of issues, it's not quite right. So what I'm going to do is make the slots in the back and weld it on. There we go, the slots are in the back, the two longer one with round ends and the two little rectangular ones. I've done them as best I can to fit in, so I'm happy with that. We're really getting there with it now. So this concludes this video, because I will go on with the other stuff on the next video, which will be fuel tanks, exhaust type things, and some bars at the back we've got to work out and fit, which fit diagonal. Well, I thought they were bars, but it turns out they're actually, if you look at the video closely of one part of the film, it's actually square tube, which I do have in stock, or I should have in stock. But like I said, that will be in the next video for something for you to look forward to, and hopefully in that we do get much closer to paint.